Oh, yeah. I also got some dude's briefcase.
I believed in you, buddy. But you should put that back.
How'd you get this?
Hilarious.
That's not something that props can fix. Sorry. I'm out!
All right, go, 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 go!
Ladies and gentlemen and others, welcome to Cordkillers. Our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you, my friends, and I call you friends because I mean that you're my friend. You're a friend that I would like to see and say, let me help you find out what you can watch, where you can watch it, when you want to watch it, on whatever device you please. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey, I'm Brian Brushwood. Have you heard the good news, Tom?
Have I heard the good news, Brian?
You can watch what you want, when you want, on whatever darn device you please. Unless you're Chris Pratt and you just broke the light switch in the middle of an outtake of Parks and Recreation. I think those are my favorite moments. Having been on the other side of production, like I don't know, it's all real to me in some way that it wasn't before. Hey man, are you ready to have an amazing show with multiple guests, including boots on the ground reports from one of our favorite new devices?
Seriously, we've got reports on Vessel, reports on Sling TV. We've got Andrew Zarian from GFQ Network coming up. Let's start with our primary target.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Sling TV invites will start going out Tuesday at midnight to pre-registered users. They'll be sent out on a rolling basis as the service starts up and prepares for a general market launch. I'm hoping to get one when they start rolling out at midnight, but waiting till midnight, that's not what Luke Bauma does. Luke Bauma from cordcuttersnews.com emailed us earlier today. He's like, I got in early. And thank you, Luke, for being willing to share your impressions with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and specifically, thanks for not just writing an email that was like, nah, 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 in your face.
I know a lot of people on our subreddit were very upset to hear I've been having access for a week now.
Yeah, so real quick, the way you got access was by handling the AMA for Sling TV. Is that correct?
Yeah, the day they announced, I emailed their PR staff and I said, hey, there's 70,000 people in our subreddit. We'd love to hear from you. And to my surprise, they replied and came out about a week later with their CEO.
All right,
Wow.
So we all know that it's 20 channels, $20 a month. You can stream it on iOS. You can stream it on Roku, Android, Fire TV. How did you experience it, and how was it actually using it?
I tested out on the Roku 3, on my Android Nexus 7 tablet, and on the G-Box Q, a Android XBMC type box. All of them work smoothly, same interface across the board, so if you use it on one, it's the same across. Technically, if you used Watch ESPN, Dish World, or Hulu, you're going to have a similar quality experience.
So now this is something like, you're already a cord cutter, right? So this isn't like it was filling a need that you already had for cable television. This is a case where it's like you were experiencing channels and live video in a way that you wouldn't normally do it. Did you notice your viewing habits alter at all as a result of having Sling TV?
Commercials were frustrating. Not being able to pause it, rewind it, as many of the channels do not have DVR functions, was very frustrating.
Yeah, that's the biggest complaint that I was reading on from some of the reviews online is like when you're watching live, you're watching old school live, which means when it's time for a commercial, you're going to sit and watch a commercial.
Right. Now, some channels allow you pause and some don't. Is that right?
Correct. Cooking Channel allowed pausing. Cartoon Network, ESPN did not, just to give some examples.
And I heard that Watch ESPN, in fact, Matt Marr wrote in from Sterling, Virginia. He pointed out that the main problem he has is that Watch ESPN has no DVR function. It doesn't even let you pause TV. It doesn't give you on-demand access. That Watch ESPN service itself doesn't include a lot of the shows that he wants to watch, like ATN or PTI on demand. So he's like, ESPN's supposed to be my hook. It's not giving me what I want. And I guess it's not available in this in this first round either. You can't log in with it.
They said that they'll have access to Watch ESPN later. I was a little surprised at that because Dish already has access. What they did tell me that I was a little shocked at is you can either watch ESPN or you can use the Sling TV app. You cannot use both at the same time. So if you're thinking, oh, I'll watch the game in my room with the Watch ESPN and Sling TV in the living room, it won't work, unfortunately.
Oh, so you're not even talking about
staff.
on the same computer at the same time, because I can imagine some people would leave the game on and then also be watching other stuff at the same time. You're talking about like full stop in the same household. You can't have the service running on, or the competing services run at the same time.
Correct. One stream, period, they've told me.
Wow.
No ability to go
from what I
between the two.
understand, I was looking at your article about this. The fact that when it goes to commercial break, you don't see the commercials means that even the streaming channel that you're watching on Sling TV is the Watch ESPN live stream, right?
Correct. ESPN channels are the only one that does this, pulls from the Watch ESPN experience. All the other channels are live feeds with commercials and everything else you expect from a cable package.
So since you were the one who handled the AMA, and by the way, I assume this is a Cordkillers subreddit that this happened in. Since you were the one running the AMA or helping to run the AMA, you probably got some surprising questions and some surprising answers. Can you take us through the highs and lows of that?
Some of the biggest surprises was that there'll be more ESPN channels in the sports package. Don't really know more than that. Other than that, the lack of the ability to use Watch ESPN and the Sling TV app was the big one. Past that, they didn't really say much surprising you haven't read elsewhere.
And that's reddit.com/r/cordcutters, I assume?
Correct.
Right on.
All right, Luke. So overall, bottom line, how do you feel about it? What's your review?
If you're a sports fan or you have kids, great. I would pay $25 just to get all the ESPN channels. The rest would be a bonus. If you don't like commercials and you want DVR, you may be a little stressed out by this, where you could spend a little bit more and go back to a satellite package and get a lot more content for maybe $10, $20 more.
All right, now let's talk about the pressing question that's on everybody's mind. What's it going to take for Tom and I to do an AMA on the Cord Cutter subreddits?
You tell me the time and I'll set it up.
Wait, that was a pressing question on anyone's mind besides us?
Besides me personally, Tom wasn't even thinking about it. I guarantee you.
That was cool. Luke, thanks so much for taking some time to share your experiences with us. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me.
So go to cordcuttersnews.com. Is that the best place to go?
Yep, cordcuttersnews.com, or find us on Twitter at cordcuttersnews.
Awesome. Thanks again, man.
On. Thanks, Luke. You reign supreme, sir.
Have a great day.
Hey, man. All right. So Luke is out, which means we finally get to introduce our main guest for the next hour. He's the creator, the host in chief, the all-around badass of Guys from Queens Network. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Andrew Zarian. What's going on, AZ?
That is one hell of an intro. The all-around badass of the GFQ network.
Well, I mean, it's accurate, is it not? I mean,
I sure hope so.
I ain't lying. I mean, you got this this awesome blue halo all around you. I'm sitting here basking in your awesomeness.
Listen, guys, I'm really glad you asked me to come on this week, because I actually just bought a brand new TV and I set up all like the smart apps, and I just subscribed to all of the cord cutting services. So I'm all ready to go.
This is great. So you did not subscribe to cable, even though you got a fancy new TV.
Well, I do have cable, and it actually this is something I should have told you that I want.
I love the fact that people admit to it as if it's a blemish. They're all like, "Well, I got a little bit of cable right over here.
I've got a few Playboys, and I've got cable, but otherwise, I don't have much that I'm embarrassed about."
No, I still have cable, but I've slowly eliminated the rooms that I have cable in. And I thought this was going in my living room, this brand new Vizio, and I was not going to hook up cable in my living room. And unfortunately, I had to reconnect the cable box last night because I was watching the wrestling pay-per-view, and it looked absolutely awful on their app, on the WWE app. So I actually had to spend $60 and order the pay-per-view on cable.
Yeah, it definitely seems like we've entered an era where a lot of the things we want are there, but it's a matter of fidelity to get it up to speed. And to be honest, like even somebody said, "Hey, now that your TV show is available on Google Play, you're going to cancel cable, right?" But it's not the experience that I want my children to have. I want my children to watch commercials and then have their dad show up.
I wanted to ask you guys this, and I don't know if you agree with me, but when it comes to sports, there's still a gigantic gap when it comes to watching internet-based content in real time, a sporting event compared to still watching it on traditional cable or over-the-air programming.
Absolutely. I mean, that's certainly, and you know what? There will always be a gap. That's that's the whole God of the gaps fallacy. It's like there's always going to be a little bit more that we could go. It's like Zeno's arrow, Zeno's paradox, but with cord cutting.
Andrew,
we're a couple
do you
years
consider
away,
yourself
guys.
a friend of the show?
Nope, I don't think he heard that. Andrew, do you
I didn't
consider
hear that.
yourself a friend of the show?
You broke up again. Sorry.
Do you consider? Answer the question,
He just doesn't
sir.
want to answer the question, Brad. He's being polite.
Do you consider yourself a friend of the show or not?
Of course, I'm a friend of the show. I love
Oh,
this
good,
show.
because I only brag in front of friends, and I wanted to brag that I got into the private beta of Vessel.
What?
Wow.
You're
This
talking
is the
about-
second half of our primary target segment, which is all about the betas. No alphas. No actual final releases either. Vessel opened up their private beta yesterday, and I was lucky enough. I signed up, and I usually don't get in early, but I got in on the first round of this thing. Your first month is free, and then it's $2.99 a month. If you don't remember, Vessel is run by Jason Kilar, former CEO of Hulu, the first original CEO of Hulu, and he's attempting to make a Hulu for the YouTube generation, essentially. So he's got Rhett and Link, he's got Shane Dawson, he's got Ingrid Nielsen, he's got all these stars of the internet, as well as some old-fashioned Hollywood names in there as well. And so I signed up for it yesterday, gonna try it out. It has a really nice way of getting into it. It says, what kinds of things do you like? You like geeky stuff? You like sports? Do you like photos, cooking, etc.? Then it, based on that, suggests some channels. Like, would you like this kind of channel, this kind of channel? Who are some names that you like? Do you like Rhett and Link? Do you like this and that? And then it creates a page for you. And I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. I suddenly have a really visual. It's got that tiled look that Hulu has of these, of Epic Mealtime and Rhett and Link and even like BuzzFeed and The Verge, all on this page. And like these videos are like selected for me. So I start watching one, plays well, streams well, it's great. I leave it and I'm out in some other kind of interface. And that's the problem, is like there's no other way in this thing to navigate. I don't know. I want a grid feel. I want to like, okay, where are the rest of the Rhett and Link things? What is the next thing I should watch? And it's very open-ended. The other thing is,
it's a bit like a command line prompt where it's like you're done and you just have a flashing cursor.
No, it's not like that at all. It's basically like, here's more pictures of things, but they're not necessarily related to the thing I want to watch next. It's just kind of, it felt random a little bit to me. So here's the thing I want to ask you guys, because the other part of this is, okay, the Rhett and Link episode I watched was posted yesterday. It's not available on YouTube. I tell you, I did go over to youtube.com, and disclosure, my wife works for YouTube. That YouTube interface looked old-fashioned and
really
even worse after looking at Vessel.
It's, what's funny is I didn't even think about that, but I guess you're right in terms of user interface. Not only is it ancient, but it was poorly designed to begin with. It's iconic now, and that's going to be the difficult thing when it comes to fixing the YouTube interface. But until you spoke those words, I never thought of it as broken, and I definitely do at this moment. That's crazy. Have you seen any of this, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm actually really interested in this because something. I know, Tom, I know your wife works for YouTube, but for me, if I go to youtube.com and I know nothing about this, it's still a little convoluted, right? The interface, you don't know what's
Definitely.
what, you don't know who does what kind of content. So if Vessel's able to, sign all the big names, the brands and content creators, and have it there and present it in a way where I understand what it is and who they are, that's going to be great for the content creator. Now, the other part of this is that they want a 72-hour exclusivity with that content. Then they could go and put it on YouTube or wherever it is. I think that's great. I think that's really, I wouldn't have a problem doing that.
Yeah, so here's the thing that pops in my head, and if I imagine that I'm Tom, one of the key experiences of YouTube is the entire time that you're watching it. Part of it is the quality of a lot of videos, because especially in the early days, and still some of the popular YouTubers are using nothing more than just a webcam in order to record their vlogs. There's something about it that says you could do this too, hop in. Do you feel that absence when you're looking at this one at Vessel?
I'm not sure I quite understand.
No, I guess what I'm saying is
what you're
like
asking.
every time, like there's something about YouTube that screams, jump in the pool with the rest of us. If you have a response, record your response, post your video, put it in the comments.
I get you. Yeah,
The
yeah.
interactive.
No, Vessel is very
Right.
much a sit back and watch this thing.
Correct.
Situation. Remember, it's available for iOS, although it doesn't have AirPlay built in. You can only do screen mirroring, and there's no Android app for it yet. So it's very early days for this sort of thing. But I mean, I just typed it in right now, and it's got a Taylor Swift parody at the top. I don't know why. That's something I want to watch. Then I go down and it's Financial Times stuff, which I did sign up for. Then things from Nerdist, the Geek Channel, Unbox Therapy. What's weird is like I didn't subscribe to the BuzzFeed channel, but there's BuzzFeed stuff on my homepage. I don't know. Again, I don't know why this is happening. Like, it just is a melange of really cool looking tiles. Some of them are got motion, right? Like, so the Epic Mealtime one, you can actually see the guys standing there moving around a little bit. It's very enticing to watch, but it doesn't have a channel feel. It doesn't really draw me in to be like, okay, I know where to go next. I know what to watch. It feels more like a, we're just throwing things up there sort of situation.
See, I think this is a problem with a lot of web content, especially with podcasts, right? There's no one source where it kind of presents everything to you as if it's a channel, as if, you know, this is this channel, this is that channel, and this is what we have on here. I'm on YouTube right now, and I'm looking at the front page. If I've never gone to YouTube before, or I'm trying to find new content, it's Saturday Night Live, and it's the Tonight Show, and it's, you know, popular on YouTube. So for me, content discovery is a little difficult if you're a content creator. This service benefits the guys like Epic Mealtime more than it does for me, I guess, as, you know, someone that's viewing
as a
content.
producer or as a consumer. Are you speaking as somebody who has a network or somebody who is looking for content?
I think as a producer, right, as a content creator, I really like this service. As someone that is getting the content, I don't know if an interface like that is going to work for me, because am I going to pay $2.99 a month or whatever the fee is to watch the stuff that I could get 2 days from now?
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. Because, man, this interface, as much as I was just kvetching about it, I'm not sure what to watch next. I'm not sure why this stuff is showing up, is light years ahead of the YouTube interface, where it's actually difficult to find things. Like, you have to learn how to find things sometimes. So
Tom, the interface
I
that
will
you're talking
give
about, are you
Vessel
talking
that,
about a web
but it
interface,
still
or are you
isn't
talking
making
about...
me think like, oh, here are all the things I love, and I get why I'm paying $3 a month now.
Are you talking about a web interface, or is this like their app interface?
This is the
Vessel.com
Vessel.com interface. Yeah, I haven't tried out. Well, there's no Android app, and I haven't tried out the iOS app yet.
So here's the amazing part. This whole discussion, taken out of context, would be like, well, is it worth going to this whole other site just to see content 72 hours earlier? And by the way, is there a lot of community building? Is there built-in commenting systems and all that stuff like we get from YouTube? Because again,
good question.
That when we talk about interactivity, people have built their careers on the fact that they're able to respond and engender a sense of community and participation on their YouTube channels. That's part of the reason on the Scam School channel, I respond to every single comment posted on every single video as whenever I'm able. If there's nothing like that in Vessel, then number one, I don't understand why you would go to this other ecosystem just to
you can leave
earlier.
a comment. There's I didn't realize it yesterday, and there's no comments on Epic Mealtime's latest episode, which I watched. You can like something, you can share it, you can leave a comment.
Is there anything advanced about the comment system? Like, for example, one of the things I like about SoundCloud is that you can place a time code for your comment to where you're talking
looks like,
about...
I mean, again, let's be fair. This is really early days for Vessel. It's private beta, right? But no, it's just a very simple comment system right now.
Well, this goes into an interesting discussion where the success of content, like the success of Epic Mealtime and whoever else they have on there, does it rely on the community and the fact that these people are interacting and they're talking to each other, or is it that people are just turning it on and watching it and turning it off when they're done?
I think it's a little bit of column A, more of column B. I think certainly the quality of the content is the most important part. However, so much of there is an expectation, a set expectation that you can speak and have your voice heard when it comes to all of YouTube. I don't know if that's built into what they're pitching with Vessel, is what I'm trying to say.
Although that's also one of the things. Here's the thing. I think we're circling around the issue here. and we've talked about it a little. Brian kind of basically alluded to it already, which is Vessel is very creator oriented. Because you know who doesn't really like the YouTube comment system at all? Most creators. They see it as toxic. It's full of trolls. It's hard to manage. It doesn't give you good feedback. And if you talk to most of the creators out there, they're not seeing the YouTube comment system as a big positive.
Not me.
So I know you're the exception, Brian, but that for the most part, that's not going to be their issue. And Vessel looks a lot better. It highlights them better. It makes them feel more important. It's going to, the big promise of Vessel is we'll give you a $50 CPM instead of a $2 CPM. All of Vessel seems to be built to attract the creators and hinges on the idea of, hey, if we get the best creators, the audience will follow. And they've made a decent interface for people to watch, but it doesn't seem to be like you as the viewer are the priority.
Yeah, I guess here's the kicker of the conversation. Imagine we had this whole conversation and it was just about, is it worth getting out of this swimming pool to jump into a new and strange swimming pool just for these features? Now, let me announce last minute, by the way, there's a $3 cover charge for this other swimming pool every single month. It's like you've got to be exceptional, especially think about how price conscious and how young the demographic on YouTube. They're courting the YouTube viewing audience, which is going to be all under 25 to under 20. They're going to be young, and they're going to be disgusted by the idea of paying a Hulu or a Netflix like fee to get in there. I suspect.
Well, even if they're not disgusted, which you're right, some of them will be, they're just not going to do it. These are people who don't pay for cable.
Yeah.
Why are they going to pay for Vessel?
They're going to wait till it's on YouTube 3 days from now and pay for it. But, I mean, the other side is look at all the Twitch streamers, right? These guys, their demo is pretty young, and they are getting donations and making, a tremendous income from it.
Right, but that is different because it's they know that they are giving money to the creator that they love. They are not paying a gatekeeper for permission to pretty please get the chance to see their favorite content creators.
Yeah, there's a big difference between I'm going to give money to Crit to watch him stream versus I'm paying this company that then splits my money up across all the creators, and more goes to the ones I watch. Like there's such a disintermediation there.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is not to say that I'm certainly not going to say that that there's. I haven't even used it, so I can't speak to it. But these are problems that I think are certainly significant that I'm not hearing clear answers to so far.
Yeah, the video is slick. It looks great. I watched, like I said, I watched Rhett and Link, Fakes Morning, and I watched Epic Mealtime, and they were both there. It works really well. It's a good looking system. We'll see if people want to pay for it. This is not 2013 anymore, Brian. This is a new era.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. If you're gonna, you know what you're saying, like, why wouldn't people want to pay? People pay on Twitch all the time. You know where else they pay? Where they pay direct to the content creators that make their shows possible? At patreon.com/Cordkillers. That's where you can throw us some shekels, keep us live and independent, rocking your face off with the latest cord-cutting news. And, of course, if you want to be able to watch what you want, when you want, on whatever dang device you please, maybe you'll save some money. Maybe you'll throw a few of those dimes our way. Thanks so much.
It's 2013 over there, too, though. Because there are 2013 bosses for us right now.
Doggone it. I missed that 2013 reference. I'm so sorry. I
thought you got it.
No.
I thought that was like the perfect
I just knew it was time to do the patron plug. God, I'm terrible.
Should have never said that because I would have just thought it was like the most brilliant segue.
It was like we tag teamed.
It was such a good one.
It was like we just had this amazing alley-oop, and I was like, oh, wait, you're playing basketball too?
All right, let's move on to our signals intelligence. Because we get to do earnings reports now on Cordkillers. That's how mature this business has become.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk so much about Q4 revenues, although they rose 26% and net income almost doubled. So Netflix is doing fine. That's pretty much what you need to know. What we're more interested in is how many subscriptions they're getting, and they're still going up more internationally than they are domestically. 1.9 million U.S. subs added, but 2.4 million new international subscriptions added. And they actually think that trend's going to continue. They expect in the next quarter to get 1.8 million U.S. and 2.25 million international. They also said, we're going to complete our global expansion in the next 2 years, starting with Australia and New Zealand in March.
Okay. Say that phrase again. We're going to complete our global expansion.
Yes, we are going to complete our global expansion in the next 2 years.
How does that sound? Maybe there's some English majors out there who could explain to me how that sentence is different from them saying, we will have finally taken over the world in 2 years. Because I'm pretty sure Dr. Evil might say, we will complete our global expansion in 2 years and then move on to lunar.
We need Lebensraum for Netflix.
Yes, exactly. That's.
I mean, all it means is like, hey, folks who are in countries that don't have Netflix, don't worry. 2 years from now, you'll probably have it, unless you're China, where it's really hard to get a license. And they said they might do a small service in China even. Like, they're still targeting that. They also, here's the part I love. They said, yeah, we know about the VPN thing. There was all that kerfuffle about maybe we're trying to kill VPNs. We do have a plan to get people to stop using VPNs to watch Netflix. And that plan is to sign more global deals so that when we make something available, it's available on Netflix everywhere and you don't have to use a VPN.
I mean, this is great. This is a big company that's in a dominant position, understanding that that they've inadvertently, the situations of their deals has caused kind of a bit of a black market that is going to live, thrive, and survive on its own unless they not bring the heavy fist of law down on it, but instead offer a cheaper, easier, better alternative. You know, they're taking a very Steam-like approach to this. What do you think, Andrew? Do you think that this strategy is going to actually, end VPNers from all over the world?
Well, I mean, they really don't have an option, right? They have to expand into different markets because the U.S. market, it's shrinking for them. They're not, their overall growth has slowed down tremendously over the last couple of years because guess what? A lot of people have Netflix and people that don't have it at this point. So they have to expand into these countries. Listen, I think people are going to use VPNs all the time regardless, but the reason why they don't want you to use a VPN because they can't trace who you are and where you're watching. It is bad numbers for them. When they say, this show did, I want to say 20 million U.S. viewers for the term of that show on Netflix, they don't know if that's actually U.S. viewers or somebody in Estonia has a VPN.
Yeah. And honestly, this is the right response. They could very easily say, we're going to crack down on VPN. They could be telling shareholders this because shareholders won't mind hearing it. They're like, yeah, you need to crack down because of what Andrew just said about the numbers. But instead, Netflix gets it in this case. They're like, yeah, you know what? That's a losing battle because you can't really stop VPN. And then you're stopping people from using something securely, which is what Hulu does. You can't watch Hulu securely if you're out and about in the world because you can't use VPN to watch it no matter what. And so this is a much more reasonable aspect of it. Like, hey, you know what? We know it's harder and it's on us to sign more global deals, but that's what we're going to try to do because that's really the state of the world now. The internet just made the world really small.
It's a smart move on Netflix's part. I'm really happy to see them do the right thing, which is to eliminate black markets by eliminating the need for black markets.
Another couple of content announcements here too. They began streaming The Interview on Netflix on Saturday.
That was a fast window. I was surprised that it came to Netflix so quickly.
And they announced that they're financing 4 movies from Mark and Jay Duplass. The Duplass brothers brought HBO's Togetherness to the screen. And you might recognize Jay Duplass if you watch Transparent because he's Josh Pfefferman.
Oh, wait. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Very cool.
Now, they've done a lot of indie movies. In fact, they already did a movie for Netflix back in 2006. They did a movie called, I think it's Bought Puffy Chair. I may have the name wrong, but they made it for DVD distribution when Netflix did an experimental round of movies that they made on DVD for the DVD service back then.
That's amazing. That's very cool. Shall we gear up?
I think we shall. I think it's a good idea. I feel like I need some gear. Hey, Plex fans, we know you're out there because you always email us. Plex came to the PS3 and PS4 last Tuesday, which means you can now watch your video, TV, movie content on the PlayStation. It's only for Plex Pass users right now, but they do plan to roll it out to non-paying Plex users later this year, although those non-paying Plex users will have to pay for the app. It's a little different situation there.
Can I confess a personal shortcoming? Weirdly, among its other amazing features, and Plex is I would say it's fair to say pretty much at one of the top tier solutions that we give to a lot of cord killers who are trying to figure out how to watch all their stuff. One of the big features of it is, of course, to watch locally stored media, because a lot of people like to rip their own DVDs and stuff. Weirdly, for some reason, I have this hang up where, because I don't do that, because I don't have any of my content locally, because I watch everything from the cloud, for some reason it keeps me from installing and using Plex. And even though we just got a PS4, this would be perfect. The kids are using it all the time for their other content. I guess I need to just get over it. Now that it's on PS4, maybe I'll even sign up for a Plex Pass and start playing around with it.
Andrew,
so
do you use Plex at all?
I just use Plex for the first. I just use it for the first time this weekend. So it's funny that you have this story up. I never use Plex. I've been told how amazing it is. I had a buddy that was staying over my place for the weekend, and he has Plex at home, and he has a server. So he's like, you know what? Do you want to try it and see what it's like? I said, okay. I signed up for the Plex Pass, and he sent me an invite to share his, I guess, media library. And right there, I'm accessing his media library, and it's unbelievable. I mean, it's essentially it's stuff in DC, and I'm getting streaming, and it looks unbelievable. I mean, the service is great.
Yeah, by all accounts, I don't think I've had anyone say like, "Yeah, Plex ain't that great." That's nobody.
But here's the thing, right? I installed Plex, as I mentioned last week. I can use it to listen to my music, but none of my iTunes, none of my DRM'd videos will work. Understandably so. And so unless you've ripped your DVDs, which again, in many cases is violating the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, if you had to get around any kind of digital protection, as flimsy as it may have been, in order to rip those DVDs, you've actually broken the law in the United States of America anyway. And if you're accessing a friend's media library over Plex, it's questionable. It's a gray area, whether that's actually legal or not. So a lot of the best uses of Plex are questionable in the current climate. I'm not even saying they're wrong. It's one of those, like, is it legal versus ethical sort of situations. The one thing I did do, and this is questionable too, is I downloaded the Hobbit Tolkien edit, which an anonymous editor named the Tolkien editor basically took all 3 Hobbit movies and turned them into one 4-hour movie where he only used things from the book The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien.
I will watch the hell out of that edit. I haven't watched any of the Hobbit movies. But the problem is that, I read The Hobbit. I thought it was a delightful book, but I ain't going to watch, 9 hours of it.
So it's on my Doghouse Systems Windows machine downstairs. I have Plex on my Roku upstairs. I launch Plex. There it is. I press play. I'm watching it upstairs on my TV. And just like you said, Andrew, it's amazing. It looks great. Now, it looks as good as this edit is. This edit is not in the highest definition that he can provide yet. But yeah, I mean, it works really well. If we had a world like we have with music where you could buy un-DRM'd movies and TV shows, Plex, I'd say Plex for everybody. This is the best way to manage your movies. Unfortunately, we don't have that world.
Yeah. But we do
hey,
have
PlayStation.
What's funny is I hear that you can access someone else's Plex library if they share stuff, and you've got this movie that I was just saying that I'd want to see, and now Plex is available on PS4. I'm just saying is all. Just saying is what I'm saying. Hey, man, normally this is the moment we take a moment to promote some of the stuff that both Tom and I have going on. I think last week we talked about the Sword and Laser, or some of the books Tom has. This week, normally I'd talk to you about scam stuff, but instead I want to remind everybody that for those of you who have cable, you can watch live Hacking the System, 2 episodes tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. We got travel hacks and hacking crime. Also, number of people say, well, that's ironic. Brian hosts a show about cutting the cord, and yet you have to have cable to watch these shows. No, that's a different week. There we go. Keep looking around. You'll find them. But but get this, all of the episodes are available on Google Play, on iTunes, on Xbox Video. You should be able to find them anywhere. Just take a look for Hacking the System. You can get a season pass, any of that stuff.
Wherever fine television shows are sold.
Yeah, right on.
Nice. So the Cordkillers can watch your show.
Yeah, they sure can. They can buy a season pass and get them all pretty like.
And they should.
With no ads.
Let's move on to the front lines.
Frontlines!
Research firm Parks Associates surveyed internet users and asked them if they would sign up for HBO's web version of the service in the U.S. when it comes out later this year. About half of those who said, yes, I will sign up, also had pay TV and said they would cancel their pay TV subscriptions once they get HBO over the web. So of the people who said yes, half of those who had pay TV, half of the people who had pay TV and said yes, said they would cancel pay TV. Now, if you do the numbers on how many people actually have pay TV, if that percentage held, that would be 6.8 million people who said they would cancel pay TV once they can get HBO on the net. People say things, Brian.
That's exactly what I thought. Like, I have no doubt that that's how many people would say they're going to do it. Ain't no way. This would be an earthquake, the likes of which we'd never seen. Andrew, you think we're going to see 6.8 million quittings?
No, because I have tried to cancel certain channels on my cable. You know, like I don't need Showtime, for example, or Cinemax, and I tell them I don't want it. They go, well, okay, yeah, we'll cancel it, but we're jacking up your rate. So I don't think people want to hear that they can't see other things in the package that they're in if they drop the show. So I don't think they're gonna drop.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of people are gonna sign up regardless and have both, pay TV and HBO Go. So
Or whatever it's called, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever they call it at that point. So I think some people are going to sign up for both, depending on who's viewing what. I don't know. 7 million is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be unprecedented.
But honestly, even if it's a small percentage, even if it's a slice of that, that's gonna be a hit.
Well,
I mean, a million people?
I don't think we've ever seen. I think we got excited when 300,000 people cut cable in a single quarter. If we're talking about like all at once, 7 million.
Even if it's a million, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey man, Tom. Remember I speculated wildly? I made some wild predictions when we heard about GoPro. Get this! This past weekend, the partnership of GoPro and Visalink to live stream video bore fruit as GoPro became an official partner of the NHL. Players and mascots strapped GoPros to themselves during the All-Star Game skills competition and the game itself to stream live. GoPro will also live stream from regular season games later this year, likely from the refs. So yeah, it's a step in that direction. I love this idea that you could just pick your favorite player and watch the whole game from their perspective.
Well, and then they're using it in the broadcast. They're taking it like during the broadcast and being able to show it on the NHL broadcast as well. So it's pretty cool. Although a lot of the shots are of the puck. Because you know what you're doing when you're playing hockey? You're looking down at the puck. I actually think it's a better idea to put it on the refs because the refs are always going to be looking at the action.
I say put it on the mascots. Show people yelling at them and throwing stuff at them.
This is going to be a great bonus for people who pay for like the NHL Network or the NFL Network, where you could pick the player and just get their bird's eye view of what's happening.
Heck yeah.
Marriott hotels are reportedly testing a TV service in 8 of their hotels that let guests log into their personal Netflix, Hulu, and Pandora accounts.
This is my annoyed face right now.
Why? Why is that bad? Okay, it's bad if Marriott says and you have to pay extra, but if they're like, you just get in and there's a smart TV and it says, hey, want to watch Hulu? Here you go. Boom, boom, boom. No extra charge.
Because I guarantee you, travelers out there, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me that if you go and you open up your laptop and try to watch what you want when you want on the device you want, you're going to have crap Wi-Fi and it won't stream. It will not work. But if you log in through the hotel stuff, it's just like watching. You can watch Dish Network on Southwest Airlines because they've got protected bandwidth. I'll take an extension on this. They got protected bandwidth so that you can watch commercials on Fox News. But God forbid you try to watch a YouTube video while you're on the same flight. It's this artificial scarcity of bandwidth that they have for the regular users trying to get their work done using their laptops like average everyday people, but they're going to protect a little slice of it so that as long as you use their systems. And I'm annoyed even thinking about this. I might be wrong. Maybe it just means magical free bandwidth for everyone.
Andrew,
I don't know, guys. If you pay me an extra $4.99 for your service, you could watch that new thing that the kids are watching, YouTube. So
hey, by the way,
it's annoying.
The airline bandwidth is not artificially restricted. They have crappy bandwidth on those things. It is getting better.
Well, no. They clearly have enough bandwidth.
They have crappy bandwidth. I guarantee you that those Fox videos are either locally cached or they like are the only possible video that you could stream?
No, it's live. Fox News. It's now unless they.
Oh, you're talking about the broadcast though. That's
yeah. No,
not
you're
the
right.
internet.
You're right. That is the case where I'm sure it's yeah, whatever. Go on to the next one. Yes, you're right. They got satellite, but then they're caching it and transmitting it locally.
Vimeo.
Oh yeah, Vimeo's making deals that puts curated shows from their. I got so upset, I was all wound up. Vimeo's making deals that put curated shows from their on-demand store available for rent or purchase through Vimeo Publisher Network. Partners like CBS Interactive and The Atlantic. I'm gonna guess, Tom, that their unique sales proposition is we're not YouTube. Like, I'm not sure what else they bring to the table.
It's a weird thing, right? Okay, so this is Vimeo saying we've got a whole bunch of creators. We have indie filmmakers. We have higher quality stuff. We have high maintenance. We have cool shows. We're selling things on demand. They're great stuff, but we need to get them out there more because people are coming to Vimeo.com. Let's enlist The Atlantic and CBS Interactive and other partners to take a cut and sell it on their site, and then those websites now say, you can buy and watch videos right here on our site, and then you stay in our site, and we'll keep you sticky. It'll keep you sticky here, and everybody wins. Question is, that probably helps exposure with Vimeo, but I'm not sure if I, as a user, am looking at The Atlantic to rent some videos.
I mean, that's the problem is part of it is the partners, and these are just the partners they named. There might be other partners but it's clear that they're going for higher end, bigger broadcasters, which is the opposite of what I want to get from Vimeo. What I adore about Vimeo is their independent creative.
It's Vimeo content on those publisher sites.
Oh, shoot. Well, that's way better.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay, now I got
this
that
is Vimeo
totally
finding
backwards.
more storefronts to put their stuff on.
Oh, good. But then I'm 100% behind this because High Maintenance is a wonderful short format series, and I'd love to see that.
But what I don't understand, though, is why? I mean, are you really going to sell that many more? I mean, how many people at CBS Interactive are going to go, ooh, I want to buy a Vimeo show and watch it right here?
Yeah,
Not many.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody will stumble across it. Have you watched any Vimeo originals before we wrap up?
I rented a documentary on Vimeo that my friend made once, like a year and a half ago. That's the only time I've ever paid for something on Vimeo to watch, and it was a friend. I don't think most people are going to be inclined to pay for something on Vimeo. They have this weird identity crisis. It's a great platform for content, and they do a really good job at providing the content creator with bandwidth and everything else, but it's why would I go to Vimeo and pay them?
Well, and this is, first of all, because High Maintenance is an amazing show and you should totally watch it. But second of all, I should repeat that Tom pointed out, I got this whole thing backwards. I read it word for word. I read it twice, and in my mind, I thought these were CBS and The Atlantic putting content on Vimeo. This is the reverse. This is Vimeo putting their original content in these other distribution platforms, which Tom's point still stands. Why would anyone go to The Atlantic to buy Vimeo original content?
Yeah, and I think the idea for Vimeo is hey, people who don't know that we have this content will be reading the Atlantic or CBS Interactive sites and find out that we have it. Not sure how successful that is.
Yep.
Hey,
So it's pretty
David
much an
Tennant
ad.
is going to play the villain Kilgrave in the Netflix series Marvel's A.K.A. Jessica Jones, the Jessica Jones Marvel show, which premieres later this year after Marvel's Daredevil comes out on Netflix. Kilgrave's also called the Purple Man. So maybe David Tennant will be purple.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably worth, as I did, go ahead and hop on Wikipedia because we're starting to get to the limits. I'm somebody who spent a good 6 years of his youth, pretty much from 6th grade through 12th grade, reading Marvel comics a lot. I'm over here. I don't know if you can see, but I got 8 long boxes sitting right here in studio. I don't know if you can see them. There you go. We broke the camera. Don't worry about it.
Can't see anything now.
But yet somehow Jessica Jones' story eluded me, and I wasn't aware of it. It was great to read the. There we go. It was great to read the Wikipedia article on that. It has me a lot more excited for the show, and I think David Tennant would be fantastic.
Do you know the Purple Man, Andrew?
I don't know the Purple Man, and I'm a little embarrassed because I read comic books, so I'm not really familiar with the Purple Man.
See, I'm saying it's okay. You're like me. Be brave and admit you don't know who the Purple Man was.
I have no idea.
But I know enough to be excited that it's David Tennant.
All right, let's move on to what's under surveillance.
Not like real estate. It's all about location.
And we don't mean in the NSA way. We mean in the you watching stuff way. PlayStation's first scripted TV show, Powers, debuts March 10th. It's the one based on the long-running comic series by Brian Michael Bendis.
Do you remember, I'm sure it was, I think, almost a year ago that we last talked about this, but do you need to have a PlayStation Network paid account in order to watch this, or is this something that was free to anyone who has a PSN account?
I think you have to have the account to be able to watch it, but I don't remember for sure. Actually, we could look at the article.
Well, I'm doing searches for free and members.
Remember when I said I'm just going to say that this is coming
I know.
March 10th,
I'm sorry. I
shouldn't
have done
a
that.
really hard question that I hadn't looked up because
No,
I thought we were
that's
just going to say that part and move on.
That's totally on me. I'm very excited
the first
about
episode will be free for everyone to stream online, but you'll have to be a PlayStation Network subscriber to watch the rest of the series.
That's how good he is. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Tom Merritt.
Freddie Wong's Rocket Jump Studio, makers of the video game High School, is teaming up with Lionsgate to produce an original show for Hulu. They're going to make 8 half-hour episodes of something.
That's huge, man, because Hulu, of course, is a deeply entrenched Hollywood institution, and Freddie Wong has made his bones on the outskirts in the hinterlands of YouTube. So that's great for him. Congratulations.
The trailer for Tina Fey's new Netflix show, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, is out. This is Netflix's prime-time mainstream comedy play. They have to tick all the boxes, I guess.
Yeah, dang straight. And if you're gonna tick a box with Tina Fey's, you're using you're doing that in Sharpie. If you're ticking that box, Tina Fey's a huge name and a big get for Netflix because it's an established name. Keep in mind how much of Netflix has been these weird outside bets that have paid off up until now.
Now, Tina is not going to be in the show,
Yeah,
but who is Ellie Kemper from The Office. And she plays a woman who has been part of a doomsday cult for most of her life, who gets freed and then tries to make her way in New York City.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so very in.
And then NBC Universal said it will offer an 11-hour free digital video stream of the Super Bowl. I'm going to go ahead and say the name because it's fair use to say that the show that is actually happening on Sunday is called the Super Bowl, because it is. Tired of this big game bullshit. Anyway, this is not new. Actually, the past several years, every big network has streamed the Super Bowl live online, including the halftime show. But I think this is the longest stream that anybody's done, 11 hours. And they're even letting you watch the Blacklist following the big game.
And I'm sure they'll let you see all those ads, the world famous ads that happened during the big game.
You bet they will.
Well, actually, will they? Because that was the big complaint.
One year they didn't. One year they had different ads and they took a lot of heat.
Yeah,
but
that
they
was
did
the first
have
year,
ads.
right?
They just didn't have the same ads.
I think they did that the first year where they had web-only ads. And I think it was, oh, God, there was one that they constantly replayed. It was Dwight from The Office was in it. And, I mean, that was like the only ad that they just kept replaying over and over again.
There's also some counter programming. YouTube is going to have their own halftime show hosted by Epic Media Time's Harley Morenstein. And the NFL has launched a partnership with Google, including their own YouTube channel.
Right on, man. Good job, guys. Welcome to the internet.
Yeah, right.
Here since the internet of video, here since 2005.
Hey, Andrew Zarian, what have you been watching lately, brother?
Of course, I wanna give a little shout out to Hacking the System because my wife and I absolutely love the show.
Wonderful.
I drank a little bit. I tweeted you. I was drinking a little bit, and I saw you preserve the cheese with the wax.
Oh my gosh! Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find. Talk to us about what else you got, and I'm gonna see if I can find your cheese waxing tweet.
Yeah. I recently discovered BoJack Horseman on Netflix. I have no idea how this passed me when it was released, but I watched the entire series. I absolutely love it, and Shameless is back, so I've been watching Shameless.
Oh, cool. Did you watch the BoJack Horseman Christmas special?
No, I didn't know there's a Christmas special. It's like its own one-off episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's weird that they don't like include it on the lineup when you just go to the regular BoJack Horseman page on Netflix. But I
honestly had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no
idea. So there's more
No.
BoJack Horseman in your future if you want it.
Tonight I'm gonna watch more BoJack.
I've been watching all kinds of stuff. We've been binging on The Americans because we kind of noticed like, oh, we haven't watched it in a couple seasons and we remembered liking it. So we finished up season 1 and have almost made it through season 2, just watching it on Amazon Prime. We'll talk about Marco Polo in the spoiler in time, The Shield in the spoiler in time. Also watched The Venture Brothers, which was, I'm starting to feel like it's just another Venture Brothers, even though it's good. Like, it's not as good as the early Venture Brothers was. I don't know how to say that.
It's not as new. Like, I felt guilty
Yeah.
when, like, I saw that you wrote that, and I was like, oh my God, the Venture Brothers are probably still making new episodes, and they're probably wonderful, and I haven't watched since, like, the second episode of season 4, and I felt bad.
And that's all true. It was a wonderful episode. I enjoyed it. It was in space. It was like the Moonraker of Venture Brothers, and I think that says a lot that I said that.
I feel the same about that show. I used to watch it all the time, and then it just something happened, and I kind of like faded away. But I'll turn it on. I'm like, oh, it's the Venture Brothers. It's always good.
Yeah, it's always a good time, right?
Yeah. By the way, The
that's how
Americans is a
Simpsons
great show, phenomenal show, and they film it on my block.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They film it all in my neighborhoods. And last summer, or whenever they were filming last, they took up the entire block, and we had these giant mega lights just beaming into my house for the
Which
entire
show is
night.
that?
The Americans.
Oh,
Little
no
show you might have
kidding.
heard of called The Americans.
So you live in the 80s.
I live in the 1980s where we're still fearing communism. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool, actually. I'm going to look for your house when I watch
Things
that.
are a lot simpler here.
Hey, Brian Brushwood, besides The Prophet, what have you been watching?
Well, I watched like 3 or 4 episodes of Quick Draw, and I noticed that you watched episode 2. We could talk about it a bit in spoiler in time. Spoiler alert! Unfortunately, as much as I love the first one, the second one I thought was the weakest of all the ones I've seen so far, and unfortunately, that's the one I auditioned Bonnie on, and she's like, "I see how this could be funny," and I was like, but the other one's funny. Like the other ones have some wackier plots that I liked a lot more. And
I did that thing where I put it on while Eileen was kind of paying attention and didn't care what I was watching.
Yeah.
And she was like, just kind of looked up at one point and go, "This is kind of dumb." And I'm like, "Yeah, this isn't the but the first one was really good." So,
it gets good again. What was the plot of the second one again?
Oh, it's the bank robbery one.
Oh, no, yep, that's the weakest.
James
That's
brother.
the weakest one. Although they
Yeah.
do set up running gags for future stuff, because you start to hear him refer to his daughter who's in jail and needs to be taken to the federal penitentiary and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So, I mean, I still like the show, and having liked episode 1 so much, I didn't dislike episode 2, but kind of seeing it through Eileen's eyes while we're watching, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're not getting what this is really about.
Yeah.
You shouldn't jump in on episode 2. That's what we learned.
Yeah. Don't bring him in on episode 2. Bring him in on episode 1 and then skip to episode 3 or something.
All right, really quickly, let's honor Brett Rounceville.
Dude, I was like, did he die? What's going on?
Oh, he did the opposite.
Jeez Louise.
Wrapped up the winter movie draft.
Man, no asterisk this year, man. I was afraid that there was going to be a controversial ending, whether or not it would be me or Scott Johnson who's the winner. Turns out, none of the above. Brett Rounceville comes barreling out and just crushing us with almost $600 million, leaving me and Scott virtually tied at around $450 million, and the rest. Holy crow, that was amazing. In fact, we got
Thank Oscar Buzz for that, I think.
Yeah. In fact, if you jump down to the emails, there's we got an email from Longo, who, if you'll remember, wrote his predictions in his report card, giving us grades on our selections. Here, cut over to that. And he said that he had to laugh because he was almost exactly right. He had Brett number 1 with an A+. He had Scott barely above Brian, although it was Brian that barely beat Scott. You had Tom next, and then not so hot, he had John and Justin, which I believe John and Justin, I think Justin was last place. Nope, John was last place, and then Justin was slightly above him. But he pretty much nailed it. Well done, Malongo. That was fantastic.
Well, speaking of emails, let's get some dispatches from the front.
If you so insist, sir, so it shall be.
So to summarize, David from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin wrote in and said, "Hey, I cut cable, and then Charter called me and offered cable for an additional $26 a month with my internet, and I realized, oh, hey, I want to watch Hacking the System, so I'll get cable. And then I found out, wait a minute, my neighbors are really nice, and I can log in and watch things online with their account. So my question is, do I still resubscribe to cable and view the same channels with my login info, or do I enjoy the content with my neighbors' login?"
Well, if you're asking, can you use your neighbor's login legally? I guess according to the terms of your contract, you cannot. Ethically, the most clear-cut right way to do it would be to befriend your neighbors and actually go over to their house, bring Cheese Whiz and some crackers, and sit and watch the show together.
Is it like gas money? Do you guys think? Like if you're logging into your neighbor's cable, do you need to like chip in?
Yeah, but you see, if you did, technically that would make you an illegal sublicenser of that would have them subletting, just as if they rented an apartment and they rented you a room without telling a landlord. However, how wrong is it to stay at a friend's apartment and chip in for the room of that you're staying at? This is a very tricky situation, and I can tell you what's all the way black and what's all the way white, but what's in between, man? That's a bunch of gray goo for me. What do you say, Andrew?
I don't know. Like, do you think it hurts anybody when you do that? Who is it really hurting?
It hurts the cable company because you're essentially making it so that they're not, and very directly in this case, not getting money that they would otherwise get.
They almost
Which
had
then means
the
you're
money.
hurting the networks because they get a share of the money that the cable company gets.
I mean, they're dropping it down. Like, what did they tell him? 20.
You're
something
essentially
bucks?
taking
$20.
food out of Brian's daughter's mouth. When you do this.
Well, that's not true. I don't own the property, so I don't know that I'll see anything.
Yeah, but indirectly, they wouldn't want to pay you for something if they didn't have enough money based on the fact that they get a certain subscription revenue through a cable company because this one guy didn't subscribe.
All I'm gonna say is
And
that
now
if you're
Brian's
worried,
family is starving.
if you're worried about the success of Brian's show, then just buy it on Google Play, iTunes, or Xbox Video, and then it won't be a problem. Anything else, that's your issue. That ain't mine. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Bob writes in and says that he has to disagree with our assessment of Marco Polo. He's been getting caught up in it through episode 5 to watch along with us, and he's really enjoying it. He says the political intrigue is great. We agree. Kublai Khan and his family are fascinating and well acted. We agree. The cinematography is beautiful. We agree. All in all, I'm really enjoying it and looking forward to finishing the series. One question, who's the white guy? Which is our whole point of our reviews of Marco Polo. We'll talk more about it in spoiler in time. Thanks for the kind words, Bob.
And then we got an email from Greg Montgomery who says, as one of the many great bosses you have, I think you should take a look at the Doko, D-O-K-O. I think Brian could find a few uses. So, of course, immediately I'm like, here's another one of those Android boxes that sells for $99. It's totally not worth it. Oh, no. Greg Montgomery knows what he's talking about. This was at CES. It's from NZXT. It's a $99, essentially a VNC box, but it makes it a lot simpler to VNC into another computer. And you can do more than just, you can do gaming with it. You can do video. You could work Microsoft Office with it. And Nantech gave it a pretty decent review. They note that there's no Wi-Fi on it. You have to have Ethernet, and you have to have gigabit Ethernet, actually. You have to have Windows 8 on the source box. And it's only 30 frames per second, which might matter for some of the video game folks out there. But for $100, this is a really simple VNC solution. Gives you a lot of good stuff connected to your TV.
I looked through everything, and of course, all the pictures just show the box itself. Did you get anything on interface? Is it the kind of thing you got to buy your own wireless mouse and keyboard if you want to use it?
It's got USB, so you just plug in
whatever it is.
Mouse
you
and
use.
mouse
Okay.
keyboard.
So it's like I guess a sling box for your PC for real time to control.
Yeah, when I'm saying VNC, I'm assuming everybody knows what that is, but essentially it allows you to take what's on your PC and just show it on the screen you're looking at.
That's pretty good, 30 frames per second. Mike says, hi, guys. Just wanted to know if you guys have ever discussed 2 separate podcast streams for Cordkillers. One for the show, the other for the spoiler in time. The reason is I use the podcast app Stitcher, and it automatically loads the latest version of the podcast. So sometimes I haven't heard the episode in spoiler in time's already in its place. So then I have to dig into the options to go find the actual episode, blah, 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 blah. Here's what's interesting is I never regarded this as a problem or a big deal until I finally updated my website. Schwood.com finally is not 6 years out of date advertising only the live show. It actually has all the projects that I do. And I realized, experiencing it from the perspective of somebody who just met me, wants to know who I am, if you click on the Cordkillers button, then it takes you to the most recently posted item. So which most days of the week If you don't click on it between Tuesday morning and Wednesday afternoon, it's going to look like, well, I guess this is a show where they just review and talk about movies that they just watched or whatever. So it makes me wonder if the Cordkillers website, number one, shouldn't have maybe our clear statement of purpose right at the top, but number two, I think I'm less objected to having it be on a different feed than I was previously. That's just where my head's at right now. I'm not committed. What does your gut say, Tom?
I've always figured it was not a problem to make it a separate feed, but I wasn't dogmatic about it. So when you put up the slightest bit of resistance to it, I was like, whatever. Because again, we're giving everybody everything, and they can do with it what they want. We don't restrict it on their end.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem making a second feed out of it. It's not that much extra work.
Well, I think my initial hesitation was, especially once we were launching a new thing, I didn't want to have it be too diffuse. I wanted it to let's have one place, one thing for it to go. Why don't we make the decision this week? You guys could chime in if you think it'll be a big deal for us to split spoiler and timeout to a different feed. Let us know.
Yeah, don't ask them if it's a big deal. I'm telling them it's not. It's not that much extra work, but do you prefer it to be all in one feed, or would you like it to be in both feeds, or do you not care one way or another?
Yeah. Go ahead.
As a fan, I would like it in separate feeds.
Oh, okay. Yep. There we go. First person to weigh in, Andrew Zarian.
And that's all we get. We only had time for one vote. The motion passes. We'll go ahead and split it into a different feed.
No. Keep sending us cordkillers@gmail.com. I want to finish with this one. The place I work in Alabama took an informal poll today, says Stephen, on how our employees watch most of their TV. 46.3% said live, 34.6% said DVR, and 19.1% said online services like Netflix or Hulu. There's 5,190 responses. Not sure what it means, but I found it interesting.
I'll tell you what, 5,190 responses is statistically significant
Not
for your area.
There's selection bias at work because of his workplace in Alabama. We don't know if they're all male. It's not properly weighted or anything like that, but it is a lot of people.
Well, no. But that's what I'm saying is for his demographic in that location, I would say it's statistically significant. I mean, but you're right. It could be primarily male. I didn't think about demographics. But yeah, man, 20% saying that they watch it mainly on Netflix or Hulu. I would not have thought we would have seen those numbers when we first started this experiment 6 years ago.
We got to send some swag to that place.
I'm actually shocked at the 46% for live content.
Yeah, well, but that's been the case. You know, we've had a number of stories where it's like, as much as we'd like to think people watch stuff, even time shifted, DVR doesn't, is dwarfed by the number of people who watch television in the traditional manner.
People get lazy. I mean, you don't watch TV to work, and managing a DVR is a little bit of work. Not a lot of work. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's something it's not, but it's also thinking. And people don't watch TV to think. I think that's been proven.
Agreed.
By the cancellation of Arrested Development.
Andrew Zarian, where can people see so much more of you than just your head and shoulders?
The GFQ Network. You could follow me there. We have a show every single day. Tomorrow we have What the Tech. We have The Bald Truth, which is a hair loss show. We have Mat Men, which is wrestling. So we pretty much cover everything you could imagine. There's something for everybody there. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter also, @AndrewZarian.
Go check it out, gfqnetwork.com. Thanks, everybody, for watching. You can find us at cordkillers.com. Our email address, cordkillers@gmail.com. And we're live on diamondclub.tv on Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you later.
you have enjoyed this program.